Dear students of class 9, today's points are as mentioned here. The Washington Declaration, the Moscow Declaration, the Oaks Conference, the Yalta Conference, the San Francisco Conference. Topic, chapter number 11, the United Nations Organization. Now I am going to discuss you. It is the same lesson I started teaching earlier. Now it is the continuation of the same lesson I am going to teach with the following points. The first point is the Washington Declaration. You know, Washington Declaration is a declaration of, American President and Russian Premier and British Prime Minister. The word United Nations was the first used in the Washington. It was decided that they would use only one word, that was United Nations. The world leaders, American President uttered that very term, United Nations, in the Washington Declaration in January 1942, when the Allied powers met and they, decided to establish a new world order based on the principles of Atlantic Charter. And for that reason, it was decided that not to sign any treaties or hold separate talks with enemy countries. Since the Axis power considered a great defeat in the Second World War, the Allied powers decided not to give any opportunity for them until they are accepting all their demands, and they are accepting the conditions they would introduce for them at the end of the Second World War. It was decided in the Washington Conference, and one declaration also was signed in presence of the Allied powers. Now, next one, Moscow Declaration. What is Moscow Declaration? It was followed by the Moscow Declaration in October 1943. The leaders of USSR, USA, UK, and China met to confirm the need for a world organization based on the principles of equality and mutual respect for all peace-loving nations. These countries, United Nations, UK, USSR, and China met with a view to establishing a new world organization, a new international political world organization which would work more effectively than the previous organization, the League of Nations. That's why they came to a conclusion that very organization should be established immediately with some guiding principles. The principles are equality and mutual respect for all peace-loving nations. This is about the Moscow Declaration. And next one, the Oaks Conference. The Oaks Conference. What is this? This conference was held to draw a plan for an international security organization to prevent wars. The objectives was to make sure that future generations could live peacefully, untouched by the revenger of war. It was decided that this conference, Oaks Conference, was held in the year 1944 in the month of October, decided that the next generation would live peacefully without facing any war. Because so many properties were destroyed, the destruction of properties, the destruction of lives had a great curse for the nation, for each and every nation of the world. That's why this kind of act should be immediately stopped. That's why Oaks Conference decided to make sure that during next generation there would be no war and there would be peaceful cooperation, respect for each other. And next one, the Yalta Conference. The Yalta Conference. What is Yalta Conference? The big three of, the big three of the Yalta Conference. The big three of the Yalta Conference. Who are the big three of the Yalta Conference? The big three of the Yalta Conference were US President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, British Prime Minister Winston Churchill, and Soviet Premier Joseph Stalin. They discussed Europe's post-war condition, post-war reorganization. That's why they met at Yalta and they decided to focus on reconstruction of nations conquered by Germany. Despite the two, opposite ideological views of USA and USSR, there was a clear agreement that the United Nations must be set up. The United Nations of Organization must be set up. It was also agreed that membership would be open to all countries that believed in the basic principle of world peace. That means each and every country of the world should be given membership who believed in the terms of peace, and those who are peace-loving countries, they would be allowed to be member of this organization, the United Nations organization. It was decided in the Yalta Conference, and three world leaders, Winston Churchill, Prime Minister of Britain, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, President of America, and Joseph Stalin, Soviet Premier, played a vital role, an important role in making all the people agree with that, conference. So that conference was a great success. It was held in the year 1945 in the month of February. This is Yalta Conference. And next one, San Francisco Conference. What is San Francisco Conference? San Francisco Conference. What is San Francisco Conference? It was a great conference in the history of international relations, because this very conference played an important role in making the countries of the world, understand the basic reason of stopping another world war, the Third World War. In April 1945, all the Allied nations met and delivered on the formation of the world policy and world body. That's why 50 countries participated in the meetings of San Francisco Conference in the year 1945. The UN Charter was discussed and signed by 50 countries in June, but came into effect on the October 24, 1945. It was Poland signed a day later, and the membership rose to 51. This day is celebrated as United Nations Day throughout the world. That is why the San Francisco Conference also is very important, because it was decided that all the members who would come would be given membership. 50 nations, 50 countries came and they were given membership. It was Poland came later, but still she was given membership. So 51 countries took membership in the San Francisco Conference. That's why San Francisco Conference is very important and played a vital role in establishing the importance of the United Nations organizations. Up to this, my dear students. Thank you.